Ready?
Ready.
What's going on, guys? My name is Oliver. I'm the owner of Buy and Sell Fitness. And a question I get a lot when people talk to me about either opening or expanding a gym is, what have past gym owners or personal trainers told you about the fitness business? So today, I'm going to take you inside the mind of a real live gym owner. He's about 15 minutes from my warehouse in beautiful Winter Park, Florida. The business is called Darwin Fitness, and this is the owner. This is Jean-Sébastien. So, welcome.
Hi.
And thank you very much for sitting down for an interview with me. I got some questions. I've asked them none in advance, so everything that you see here is going to come off completely unrehearsed. Unscripted. So the first question that I'm sure our American audience is, we hear accent. So where are you from?
I'm from France.
From France. Paris. And how long have you been in the US?
Since 2010.
2010.
It's going to be 16 years soon.
Cool. And have you always been like wanting to open a gym even when you were in Paris?
Short story, no. I was in the corporate world, and when I reached 40 plus years old, I decided to do something that I always wanted to, and to put the money and the business on the side, at least for a little bit.
And so what year did you open Darwin Fitness?
On my own as an independent trainer, under the LLC Darwin Fitness in 2012. But at the beginning, one-man operation, renting space in third-party gyms, so I didn't own a space.
So you just go from gym to gym and pay them some rent and train them and build your clientele.
Exactly, and managing on my own the marketing aspect, the website, finding leads, clients, renewing them, but no employee and no dedicated space for me.
Okay, so that brings up something that I find interesting. The number one question that I get whenever a personal trainer comes into my studio is, they're at that stage where you were then. And they say, hey, I have some good clientele. I think if I open my own thing, people would follow me. So at what point in your going from gym to gym in your personal training journey did you decide, I think it's time for me to get a brick and mortar gym and make the big investment?
July 2020.
So
when everybody was closing everything,
that's what I was asking
selling to you,
selling to me
for 10% of the facial value.
We're gonna cut this part.
So when everybody was running away from fitness, I said, now it's time to get in more seriously. I shifted my mind because of COVID. When COVID happened, a few gyms closed for a little while, and when they reopened, to my standard, they didn't really adapt to the protocols, and I felt the need to own and control my space, because I thought for the first time that the fact that I didn't control my space could jeopardize my whole business. I take one client at a time without any risk associated with health and the pandemic. And I knew I was going to lose money at the time,
of course,
but the client really appreciated the approach. And then when COVID faded and was not a preoccupation anymore, I deploy really the marketing, expand the space one time and not the third time.
Did people think you were crazy saying, I'm going to open a gym in the height of COVID?
A little bit, yes, but actually I saw an opportunity because I thought, to my standard, nobody was doing it right.
In my experience in dealing with people who open, big gyms or personal training studios, most people fall into kind of two buckets whenever they do that. The first bucket is going to be the person who's meticulous. They write a detailed business plan for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they try to follow that to the T. And the second, not necessarily wrong, is saying they're going to wing it. They found a location. They know if I build it, they will come, and they open it and see what happens. Which one of those were you?
So business plan. I mean, a business plan is something that gives you some visibility and force you to ask yourself the good question. Identifying a target, a niche, establishing a budget, expenses, absolutely, for me, it's a necessity.
So even if you plan and it's not exact, it's more or less a blueprint of what I think I can bring in this much revenue, investing this, I can recoup my money on my investment in X amount of time. Is that kind of how you were thinking?
Absolutely. If I can give one piece of advice to personal trainers, I'm not talking about gym, general gym with membership, it's a different game.
Of course.
Personal trainer will be to identify 1, 2, maximum 3 niche, very vertical segment of the population.
I would agree 100% of this part, 100%.
The more broad 100%. You are, the more difficult it is to make your place. So find some niche where you feel comfortable with, based on your background, based on what you've been doing, and then market those niches.
Number one, I think I agree with him 100%. When people come into our warehouse to open a personal training gym, I think a niche is so important because some want to focus on sport-specific training. For some, it's going to be the older crowd. Some, it's going to be younger. Sometimes bodybuilding, powerlifting. So, what was the scariest part when you finally got the keys from the landlord and you said, "Okay, this is it"? You don't really have that many, employees yet. What was the scariest part of that first month?
To pay the bill, yeah.
To pay the bill.
So that's another piece of advice. As much as possible to have some cash in hand. That's actually part of a good business plan because we don't generate money immediately.
You spoke kind of about the location, and probably the most important thing in almost any business is going to be the people. So talk about the first personal trainer that you hired to work under you, and was that scary? Because I'm sure for a long time you did things the way you knew how it worked.
Yes.
And every personal trainer, I would imagine, has their own philosophy when it comes to personal training. So how was that first hire for you?
I hired a young lady who's still with me at this point. I hired her in 2021. Not only she's still with me, but she's now my fitness director, and I gave her some shares of the company and made her my partner. So it was a very lucky shot. Her name is Pamela Figueiredo, and she's exceptional. And she was very young. She's still very young, but she was 21 when I hired her. She had a background in sport, in soccer, and in sports performance, generally speaking. So she added that. And then I was not so concerned about her having a different style of training than mine. In order to grow, you need to reach. So having different personality, different approach. I'm a little bit more European, I never laugh, I don't smile a lot, I don't over compliment the client, I'm a bit dry like that.
That's a French thing, right? That's a French thing.
In my business, and I think in yours too, the digital marketing is very important. So the time factor in order to rank in a new address for local service, for Google Business, is a thing. So posting, showing what we do with the client, collecting good reviews with good keywords, all that factored, and at one point we started to really rank and to dominate.
And if you're watching this, everything he's telling you costs nothing. And it's very important for your personal training business.
Especially at the beginning, I would say when you start in this business, you're not occupied with your client 100% of the time.
Of course, you have time.
You need to use this time. It's not free time, it's actually investment time. You need to use this time to work on your social media, to be extremely consistent. There's one thing I can tell about people entering this business. It's very pleasant, it's very nice to be in a gym, to take care of your body, to be positive with people. Everybody likes that. But it's a job. And as a job, it requires a lot of professionalism and consistency. It doesn't pay off immediately. And if you have a good plan, that's why also I come back to the business plan. If you have a good visibility that you created for yourself because you've been working, that's going to help you because you have a path, you have a trajectory.
So let's jump forward now. It's 5 years in the future. How many personal trainers do you have from that first hire to now?
Total, we are 8.
The next part of this video is going to be the part probably that will get the most replayed here, because most folks don't talk about numbers. He sent me over a press release discussing numbers with the gym and also future projections of where he wants it to go. And people don't talk about that. We're going to talk real numbers in a real personal training studio with somebody who I've personally known for 5 years, with a real business, real employees.
2021, we closed the year around $200,000 in revenue. Only personal training. And we closed last year at $500,000.
At $500,000 last year.
Only on personal training.
In personal training.
No class, no membership.
Out of less than 2,000 square feet. And so that's why I asked him the question before about the business plan. Do you think if you would not have had a business plan, pardon me, that would be achievable?
It would have been definitely more difficult. I think it helped me to not only create a path for me, but also for the people I took on board.
How big is this place here now?
3,000 square feet.
Okay, so you increase your square footage by 50%. You have about another 3 trainers.
Yep.
So what would you project at the end of 2026 your revenue would be versus the $500,000 from 2025?
So I'm very cautious with this year because it may be actually a little bit of a slowdown in the trajectory. I hope not. I hope not. But I won't be surprised if we stall or if we are under 10% of growth. Whereas the other year we compound 25-30%. Just because it's a new address, a new location.
Of course.
It takes some time to create some momentum.
What do you think is a good 5-year plan for Darwin Fitness?
At least double the revenue.
At least $1 million business.
The $1 million.
$1 million business.
The famous million.
The famous million. And what do you think, as a successful personal training studio owner, what are the top 3 things that makes you successful?
Be as professional as possible with everything that is covered by this term. Never cut the corner, be good at the marketing and work hard, document yourself, listen to professional, YouTube can be a source of information. Always try to involve and document yourself as much as possible. Don't neglect any aspect of the job. From the way you handle the client, the service, the time you take to respond to a request from a client, the way you handle the question, the quality of the assessment you're going to perform with the prospective client, the lead, the training itself, your ability to renew and get this client for a long term, the ability to leverage the good relation by generating good reviews and referrals. Each aspect is important and each aspect requires a lot of work and consistency.
I'll end with this. You know, there is so many ways in this world to open a business, to make money, to have clientele, to get yourself out there. And what I think is important in doing what I do is I love the fitness business. I love meeting personal trainers, gym owners, people doing home gyms. I think that it's really important to be successful in the long term, to love what you do. Would you say that within this business, you love doing this? Are you passionate about it?
I love it, and I can prove that I love it because I was in a corporate career, and I was making much more money than at least during the first years of my fitness journey. And the reason why I went into fitness is because after 40 years old, I felt the need to be completely in line with my job and to live my passion. And that's not just word, that's the reality of it. So for me, the money and the business aspect of it, I knew I needed clients, so I need to handle this aspect of the business. But it was not so much trying to develop, making a lot of money. It was trying to make a decent income from it, yes, but mostly to live the experience with the client and do something that I felt positive about. Yeah, really, 200%.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for your time and letting us come in and talk to you into the facility. And I look forward to talking to you in 2031 when it's $1 million business. Pleasure.
Thank you, Oliver.
Absolute pleasure.